Hi everyone, you are on the Player Review channel. Today we are going to tell you about PEDRO NETO's card with a 5-star weak foot and gold finesse. Looking ahead, let's say that this card is very cool and will surely be in your lineup for a long time. So, this version of PEDRO has a unique 172cm tall model, an explosive type of acceleration, and 4+5 stars. We observe the positions of right winger and midfielder as well as left winger and forward. For the chemistry style, try Hunter first and foremost. We have tested different styles, including marksman, but for now, we use finisher for a better speed boost. Maybe later, we'll go back to Hunter. In talents, we see gold finesse, power shot, pinged pass, incisive pass, rapid, quick step, battery, and trivela. In the roles, we highlight inside ++ for right winger and midfielder, as well as false 9 for the striker position. As you know, in EAFC 25, the rewards for the Weekend League are awesome, which means that the game has become much harder to play. Our boosters will help you to get the best rewards. Write in, because the number of spots is limited. And don't forget that we also sell coins at a cheap price. All links in the description. The first thing to note is that the Portuguese looks good on the wing and has decent speed for this position. As a false 9, you may have the classic problem of running away from the center back because of the small model. However, you can still create space. That's why we chose the finisher style. It activates the best speed boost. In addition, after activating the speed boost, the speed remains almost maximal thanks to rapid. Here's a representative episode on finisher. As you can see, after the speed boost, the speed remains high. That allows you to break away quite easily and solve the moment effectively. That is, the main thing is to activate the speed boost, and then you can run away. Of course, if the opponent has time to play in the body, then the game's up. Anyway, a good speed boost allows you to fly into the open zone for a finesse shot and so on. That's why we're playing with this style now, to get away from the opponent quickly and finish effectively. Plus, it makes the card even sharper on the left stick. That said, the left stick is good even on Hunter, and it allows you to turn around pretty quickly. It's not perfect, but it's agile enough. Besides, when playing this card, you should regularly use the short L1 dribble. That is, you press L1, turn around quickly, and shoot a finesse. And yes, there will be a lot of finesse in this video. But before that, let's note that direct shots in the penalty area are not worse, including shots to the near post from an acute angle. Of course, the precision setting helps here, but even without it, the card is really scoring. If you are worried about the physical side, you can try the Hawk or Marksman style. For example, here's Neto on Marksman. As you can see, he survived the push. In the end, he was still taken down on offense, but that didn't save his opponent either. As you can imagine, it's time to talk about the finesse. Well, they're easy. They're one of the best in the game, if not the best. And yes, we're serious. 9 out of 10 finesse shots score consistently on target. And that's no joke. Let's say if you compare it to Salah's 91, who we've had for quite a while, his finesse gets in about 6 to 7 times out of 10 shots. That's if we're talking about the second or even more so the third line from the penalty area. And with him, it's easy to overpower a shot. With Neto, everything is much easier, and you don't have to worry about the power of the shot. The trick is that the precision setting works perfectly with this card. Pay attention to the distance of the shot in this episode. Moreover, the Portuguese can easily score such long shots with his weak foot. Again, the Portuguese has a small model, which is always an advantage in such shots. Firstly, it's easier to get into the shot, and secondly, the animation of the shot is faster. This all brings us to the fact that the Portuguese is literally the perfect option for the false 9 role. And it doesn't matter that he only has 1+ in this role. The trick is that the false 9 is always in front of the penalty box rather than running into it. This positioning makes it possible to regularly punish opponents with long-range finesse shots from both feet. Because the false 9 is a priori poorly guarded, Neto often gets space in front of him and time to prepare a shot. Again, in the current meta, almost nobody uses the role of stopper for center backs, so PEDRO is almost always open. We should not forget the importance of passes for the role of false 9 or the trivela. For example, in this episode, Neto played sharply through the trivela, got the ball back, and guess what? He perfectly placed the ball into the near corner. And since we are talking about trivela, it's worth noting its benefits, not only for classic timed shots from the half flank, but also for such better passes. As for the passes themselves, apart from the pinged pass, there is the incisive pass. Probably one of the best talents for cam or false 9. Again, in addition to cutting passes down to the forward, you can also make passes to the flank and so on, especially since good field vision allows you to do this. Of course, the false 9 will have to be manually dispersed, but it doesn't have to be done at all given that the long shots are so good. Conclusion: Neto is definitely worth picking up and playing him at the core. At least if you, like us, are a fan of finesse, and even more so if you select precision instead of auto, though finesse will fly just as well in timed finishing. Of course, the card lacks strong physicality, golden rapid, or quick step, and we'd love feints with trickster wrap. In general, as you understand, minuses can always be found. However, the advantages clearly outweigh. This is one of the best SBCs since the beginning of this version of the game, especially considering the price of 150,000 coins. And if not the best, then at least one of the best finesse cards in the game, which in a good way feels scripted. As mentioned, you can use this card anywhere, whether flanking or attacking. It will bring value everywhere and prove useful thanks to its shots. Moving on to alternatives or similar cards, Sané immediately comes to mind, who also has cool finesse but doesn't feel like he's up to Pedro's level. However, if you can get both of them to play, then do so. Directly insist. Shelyn coming out along with Neto was very cool at the beginning of the year when she was worth under 2 million coins. Now she's not even up to it in terms of talent anymore, and the same 5 on the weak foot isn't there, and her role as a false 9++ doesn't seem as appealing as Neto's due to the lack of talent on the passes. Simply put, we don't see much point in assembling her, although her finesse is cool too. It's weird in general. I'd rather they release the Smith version of the Thunderstruck, which is more powerful, and 5 on weak and a useful trickster. And speaking of trickster, overall, if you compare him to Neto, Salah is slightly inferior in agility and finesse. Neto has realistically better finesse than this version of Salah, but the Egyptian is expectedly superior to the Portuguese in body and of course due to the swing animation on trickster. Again, we have them playing together now, one as a false 9 and the other advance forward. And they look amazing together. The recent Pires is primarily a cam after all, and yes, he has a decent card too, thanks to his talents, and yes, he has an 5 on feints. However, not the best model that lacks mobility, but at least try to rent him at the CAM position, maybe it will work. Of course, this card is a conditional weak card anyway, but it has its own vibe, especially for longtime Arsenal fans. If you have any questions left, post them in the comments and we'll try to give you a quick answer. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the live reviews. We give Pedro Neto 9.2 points for the quality of the card and remind you that detailed evaluations will appear tomorrow on our Twitter. For the build price, the card gets 10 points. Thanks for watching and see you in the next videos.